So, it happened. This game came out here in Japan. Story of Seasons, A Wonderful Life, which is a remake of the original that came out on the GameCube and I think maybe the PlayStation 3. It's been about 20 years, I think. Yeah, 20 years or so since the game originally came out. Just came out here in Japan in January and it's scheduled to come out in June overseas. I don't want to give away any spoilers. I'm going to be very careful. I've kind of already decided what I want to say and I have it written down. So I'm going to follow that, try and avoid any kind of spoilers in the footage I use as well. I'm just going to try and use the most boring basic stuff I can find and just give you like a brief rundown of my impressions of the game. And keep in mind, these are very early impressions. I'm only like maybe 8 hours in, but I want to come back as I'm more further in the game and see how those opinions that I have maybe changed or maybe gotten worse. I don't know. So, for those of you who don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of A Wonderful Life. It's just sort of boring overall. Like, don't get me wrong, a lot of people absolutely love the game and I get it. I can understand it still has a little bit of a nostalgic place in my heart as well. But when put up against like really strong titles in the Harvest Moon series, it just really doesn't compare to me, for me at least. Speaking of which, I made a video recently when I found out that this game like got announced or whatever, and I was like, why didn't they remake something like Tree of Tranquility? But it turns out on Marvelous's Europe Twitter, I believe, they posted 2 screenshots, one from A Magical Melody and one from Animal Parade. And they're like, which game would you like to see remade? And people are like, oh, you can't say that they're actually going to be remaking it, but I sincerely think that this is a reality and that they're really going to do it. Because, well, first of all, the comment section was overwhelmingly Animal Parade fans. I'm proud of you guys in the field for coming through. And so I was like, I wonder if they might have like any sort of Easter eggs in this new Wonderful Life that could point to the signs of them actually redoing one or the other. And I did find one Easter egg in the customizations option. There was like a hair option that looked pretty much identical to the main character in Magical Melody, but I feel like the real sticker was the fact that they used the exact same soundtrack for the Goddess Pond in A Wonderful Life, this new Wonderful Life, as was used in the original Animal Parade. I'm gonna play them so you can just see that I'm not crazy. So honestly, I expect them full-heartedly to come through and remake Animal Parade. I mean, of course, if it was Tree of Tranquility, it'd be much better, but Animal Parade was an awesome game as well, so I'd be just as happy. So I want to first talk about the pacing of the game. I found that it's much easier to get into the game this time around because they have this new feature where they have like all the tips and like guidance you would need built in to your menu. So you can just open up this section of the menu that's called Takakura's Notes, and that's the guy who like your dad was friends with, and that's who let you live on the farm in the game. Normally I don't like go through and read all of like the guiding notes like I probably should because they're just long and I feel like they're not really well written, but this time I felt like they did a really good job of separating them into like easy to select categories, and I've been referencing them a lot, so kudos to that. And since there's only 10 days per each season in the game, it helps you make sure that you're really being mindful of what you're doing in each day and that you're not wasting any time. And overall, I'd say it's a nice balance between like stuff to do and just a relaxing game. Now we have to talk about interactions, because this was pretty much the downfall of Hoot, the game that shall not be named. But this time around, I feel like they really did a good job of making interactions more meaningful. I feel like the characters, the stuff that they say is a lot cuter and a lot more lifelike, especially Cecilia. I feel like they did such a good job with her. Like, she's so cute. And another one that surprised me was Lumina. And so I actually think she'll probably be the one I court in the game, unless I have some rapid change of heart. I was thinking about going for Cody, but I will say there are some like character movements that are a bit unnatural, like a bit awkward. But heck, so am I, so who's to point fingers here? And probably the biggest thing that surprised me, like most of all, was the addition of voice acting. It's not like they actually speak. It's just like noises when you talk to them, or like they have a specific emotion. I wish that the girls had a bit more variety. Their voices seem to kind of blend together, and there's at times I wonder if they're all played by the same voice actress. I'm not sure. But my favorite one is, oddly enough, Vesta. She sounds exactly how I had imagined her to sound.
Yo!
So that was really cool. The bachelors, I mean, they didn't have a lot to work with, and I'm proud of them for like trying, but they're just not it. Now I want to talk about some of the more technical things like the controls and graphics, and I just want to start off by saying I think the game looks really nice, which is very different from the original, which was more like almost monochrome and like almost gritty in places. So that was a nice change to see. But the controls themselves, the specific thing that I really miss is the ponytail flip. Unfortunately, the ponytail flip, my friends, is gone, so RIP. Another thing that I really liked though was how they reimagined the mining in the game. I just found it so incredibly entertaining. Yeah, that might just be a me thing. So the loading is really fast, which is nice, and I mentioned how the menu is really convenient now. Within the menu, you can now look at each character and see like your heart level with them. But the game did not remove the diary, where you can go and like sneak a peek at the diary and see what they think of you there. So that was nice that they kept it there. It's got a good balance of old and new in that aspect. I do wish though it was more like Animal Parade, where you could track villagers, because there's sometimes where I'm running around the town like all day because I have no idea where somebody is, and that's just a waste of time. Overall review, I would say at only like 8 hours, which is still really early, I'm gonna give the game like a 5.5 out of 10. But it might go up as I log more hours into the game, and I definitely plan on checking in with you guys later to let you know. Is it a game that I can't put down? No. I will tell you a game that I can't put down, and a game that I'm actually like low-key wanting to play as I'm recording this video. That would be Harvestella, which came out here in Japan in November of last year. I think it might have been a same time release for overseas audiences, I'm not sure, but I talked about it in my podcast. It is such a great game. Honestly, so well done. And I was a bit nervous because it's kind of like a knockoff of Rune Factory, but the more I play it, the more differences I see and the more I respect it as a standalone game itself. So if you haven't picked it up, I definitely recommend Harvestella. And I want to end this video by giving you a few tips on how to start this game once it comes out. I actually got some of these from a YouTuber that I really like. He uploads a lot of Story of Seasons videos, Rune Factory videos, and I think his channel's Ameshko. So some of these points I kind of reference from him, and they've helped me a lot in the game. So I thought it might be helpful for you. Number 1, don't rush your proposal. I know the game tells you that you need to get married within a year, but that doesn't mean you need to like propose within the first month. Like, you can wait all the way up until winter to propose, and until then, enjoy all of the other characters and their heart events. And the last thing I would say is befriend the villagers, because they'll give you stuff like tools, and I think it's pretty easy to get like basic gifts that villagers would like milk. Your cow, you can milk her twice a day and she produces like 5 jugs at once. So it's not that hard to find gifts that everybody would enjoy. And that wraps it up for my brief review on Story of Seasons, A Wonderful Life. Bye-bye.